Yep, and it's
Get slick.
well, I want to welcome all of you tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started. We might have some others pop in later, but just wanted to welcome you. I think most of you have been to one of our classes before, so probably don't need that much introduction tonight. But my name is Stacy, and I'm the health ministries leader here for New Begins Health Team, which is a ministry of the Brighton Seventh-day Adventist Church here in downtown Brighton. And I've got a couple of my ladies here tonight. Kim and Sue. She's going to be pulling our drawing tonight, so you want to make sure she gets your name. So
Hi everyone.
She's doing our drawing this evening, and Janet is here with her daughter Erin. So glad that they're here. So those are my team members here tonight. And we got another presenter coming in a little bit later. Her name is Anna, and she's going to be sharing our fitness segment. So we've got a lot of exciting things planned for this evening, and I'm excited. We haven't done one yet where we've done 3 or 4 different topics. So this is going to be a variety pack tonight. But because we are covering springtime, we're picking things that are associated with spring. And I'm excited to be able to share some of the things that I am enjoying. I'm going to be talking about the microgreens today. And then we got a couple other cool things coming up too. But let me mention for you what our next events coming up so that you know about those. The next event that we have is in 2 weeks, and that is our Health and the Bible and Your Health Fellowship meetup. We do this on the 4th Thursday of the month at 7:30, and it's the same Zoom login that you're in right now. So you would use the same one. You don't have to RSVP for this one, but we always do kind of like a time where we get to know each other better. We always have some kind of a discussion question, icebreaker type of question. And then we look at some topic related to the health and the Bible. And because today we're talking about spring reset, the growth mindset part we're going to be discussing at the end of our class today is what we're going to be delving into deeper at this next meetup. So this is 2 weeks from tonight, and Kim, my friend Kim here, is going to be leading out in that class. So come and join us, just about an hour, and we have a fun time. So put that on your calendars for 2 weeks from tonight. Then the next thing that we have going on after that is our next class. And I'm really excited about this one because we're doing something different we haven't done before. And that is our cooking class in May is May 13th. And we are having a guest presenter coming. And her name is Nicole Braxton. So I'm just going to pull up her webpage here. Nicole is from the Plymouth area. She does plant-based cooking programs throughout the entire Detroit area, and does these health presentations, and just recently came out with a new cookbook. And this is her cookbook, Simple and Sweet, Delicious, Easy Plant-Based Cuisine. And it focuses on plant-based, quick, easy meals for people on the go. So Nicole is very excited to come and share a couple of recipes from her new cookbook and to give us some tips of how we can make some really delicious meals when we are busy people. So you'll want to definitely sign up for this class, and you can do that even tonight. If you just in the chat say yes, RSVP me for the May 13th class, or you can just say yes right now and we'll know what you're referring to. And we'll get you already on that list. So you'll make sure you get the recipes and the ingredient shopping list and all of that for it. She's got a amazing website if you want to check it out, called Around the World in 7 Days. And you look at some of her dishes and my mouth just starts salivating looking at some of these foods that she has. And she also has an Instagram page that also features some of what she does. So you might want to check those out, but we're really excited to have Nicole coming to be a guest presenter for us in May. So put that down on your calendars, May 13th, and plan on joining us for that cooking class. So those are the next 2 events coming up. And tonight, as we already mentioned, we're going to be doing a drawing. We'll be doing that after the Microgreens presentation. So you'll get to see some of the things that we're going to talk about, and then you'll get to see the gift that we're going to be giving away. So you'll want to make sure you stay with us because you have to be present to win. And then just a couple other little things, just as reminders, we have a Facebook page that we encourage you to check out. And I'll just pull that up here for you guys to see. It's New Beginnings Health Team of Brighton, or on Facebook, it's facebook.com/NB Health Team. And we often put things about what's coming up, but also recipes. So if you're looking for a good plant-based recipe, this is a place where you could come to get some ideas. So we post those things on here as well. And then we also have our YouTube channel, New Begins Health Team, that has our past classes. So if you've missed a class, or if you really liked a class and you want to share it with a friend, you can go here and find all the classes that we have done since we've been going virtual online. So check those out and share them with someone else. All right, Mary, welcome tonight. Glad you can join us. Okay, so at this point, we're going to get into just a little introduction to our presentation for this evening. And okay, are you guys able to see my little screen here? My little spring reset?
Oh, yes.
Perfect. So we're talking today about spring reset, refreshing and renewing your body and mind, and how we can experience a spring reset. Because I think it's really important that we know what this time of year means and represents, and how that can apply to our lives and our health and well-being. So when I think of springtime, I love spring, especially after a really cold winter. And this winter wasn't too bad compared to some, but still, after you've been cooped up inside all winter and it's been cold and all of that, when those warmer days start coming, and this year we've been very fortunate to have some coming earlier than normal. And the last 2 days when it was like hitting 80 degrees was just like so awesome. I just like gotten all excited that spring is here and the daffodils are coming out and the days are getting longer, and we're experiencing some of those spring rains today, and new things are growing. I planted tulips at our new house last fall, and they're coming up and they're just about ready to open, and I'm all excited about that. And it's just the fresh air. I've been getting out and I've been running outside. You know, the treadmill works in the wintertime, but I really hate it. But when winter is over and it's springtime, you can get outside and just get some exercise in the fresh air. I said in the beginning, I'm working on my little spring garden and getting my beds ready for planting and yard work and raking leaves and all those things. I love everything about spring. It represents new beginnings, new growth, positive changes. Now, when I think about spring, I also sometimes think about spring cleaning. How many of you think about spring cleaning when you think about springtime? Yeah, this is when you're like, okay, it's time to start getting the cobwebs cleaned up. And I was looking out my kitchen window the other day, and my husband's like, that window looks terrible. The sunlight was coming in and there was so much dirt and splatter all over it. So he took that to town and cleaned up the windows. So those kind of things you start thinking when springtime comes. You start decluttering and going through your closets and getting rid of things and getting your yard cleaned up, and everything is just like getting it all fresh, because that's what you're thinking. You're thinking spring is about cleaning, resetting, getting things fresh and new. And it just feels really good to do that, especially now that it's warmer and you can do those things without getting cold. So when it comes to spring cleaning, there's also spring cleaning of our mind and our body. And that's kind of really what we're talking about tonight, is that spring reset of getting everything off to a fresh start. So what are some of the ways that we can do this? Now, when you think of spring cleaning, you might think of the word detox. We didn't really call this class a detoxing class because sometimes that brings up a different type of connotation. But in a way, spring cleaning is about giving your body a fresh start. So a couple just very basic ways to do that is, one is just drinking lots of water and juices. This spring, I plan to do a juice fast for just a week, just because it's a good way to kind of give your digestive system a little bit of a break, get some good nutrients in through some juices, and kind of detox in a way. So that's a good thing to do in the springtime, is just really flush out your system. And then get out in the fresh air and the sunshine. You might be a little bit low on vitamin D after being inside all winter. So getting into the sunshine, getting some of that vitamin D recharge, some fresh air in your lungs because you've been breathing indoor air all winter. So now you're getting your lungs cleaned out. And then exercise is another great way to get rid of toxins and to sweat those out, and even shed some of those extra pounds that you maybe put on over the winter. So we're going to have a little segment tonight about exercise, because that's another great thing to do once springtime is coming. And then, of course, there's the nutrition factor, and eating fresh vegetables and salads. And in the wintertime, we think more comfort foods, which might be a little bit more heavy. But when springtime comes, we start thinking about fresh greens and fresh salads and fresh vegetables. And there's actually a bunch of vegetables that come out early in the spring, like asparagus and peas and radishes and green onions. These are all ones that you can actually start planting in a garden if you're doing gardening this year. These are ones that you can start getting in weeks before all the other vegetables, because they don't mind cooler temperatures. So your salad greens, your spinach, your peas, these like cooler. So it's great ones to enjoy this time of year, and to even maybe get out there and plant some of them. And then there is another form of spring cleaning, and that's just our mind, refreshing and renewing the mind. There's this verse in the book of Proverbs in the Bible, chapter 23, verse 7, that says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." What that basically is saying is, if our thinking is negative, it's going to affect the entire being. If our thinking is positive, then our entire being is going to be more positive. Our health is very much connected to our mindset. And whatever our mental state is, it's going to affect more our physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. So helping our mind to get reset is really important too. And so we're going to spend the third part of our class tonight looking at how we can do that. And there's this scripture in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, that talks about renewing our mind. And it says, "Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." You know, so there's a lot of times negative things in the world that we focus on, and they bring us down and they create a negative mindset. But our minds can be renewed. We can get a new way of thinking that can totally transform our life. And that's so powerful and so beautiful. So we're going to talk about that more later as well. And of course, we're going to talk about microgreens. So that's where we are headed next. So are you excited about what we're going to be covering tonight? Yeah, see some thumbs up. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, well, let us get into this part about microgreens. And we sent you out a couple handouts actually about microgreens. One was just like a basic introduction to what microgreens are. And then one was a nutrition sheet that goes through the health benefits of microgreens. There was a lot of great information on this handout, so this is a great one to read if you want to learn more about microgreens and their nutritional benefit. We'll talk about that a little bit too. And then one was a recipe on how to make a salad with microgreens. So we'll mention that in a little bit too. But what I wanted to do first was just kind of explain a little bit more what microgreens are, show you my microgreens. I've got my grow station here behind me. And I'm also going to give you a demonstration of what to do to get started with growing microgreens. So I'm just curious if anybody here has ever grown microgreens before. And
Right here.
No, but I buy them.
you buy them, okay.
I do grow them.
You do, Terry, awesome. Very cool.
I gave Angela some to grow, Angie.
Okay, very cool. Where do you buy yours from, Sue?
It depends because it's obviously a seasonal type thing, but sometimes I found them at Simply Fresh, sometimes Bush's. Oh gosh, where else? Kroger's?
Yeah.
I see them at Kroger's, yeah. So it's not real easy to find.
Section is.
And the Fuel, which is like a raw food restaurant, sometimes they'll sell their pea shoots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I am new to growing microgreens. In fact, it was about this time last year that I attended a online webinar that was on how to grow microgreens. And I think it was advertised as grow fresh veggies in 14 days. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. So that's what piqued my interest. And I got my first kits to start growing them and had a lot of fun with it. Got away from it for a few months during the summer, but kind of picked up more this winter. And I think with springtime, I just had this growing urge. So I started really growing microgreens and thought I'll share some of this from the class. So I'm not like hugely experienced, but I think that's part of the reason why I'm sharing, because you don't have to have a lot of a green thumb, let's say, to do this. It's quite simple. And it's a fun, easy way to have some fresh veggies and, like I say, 7 to 14 days. So just first, a little definition. What is a microgreen? So a microgreen is different from a sprout, kind of related, but different. So let me just grab here a tray. These are cabbage microgreens. So you can tell that they're like little baby plants, smaller than, they're smaller than like a full plant, like if you were buying baby spinach or something like that in the store, definitely smaller than that, but much bigger than a sprout. And with sprouts, you eat the root, the sprout, the whole thing, the seed, whatever. With microgreens, you're only eating the stem and the leaves, and the root part you're not eating. You cut that off. So the other thing difference between them and sprouts is that sprouts, which I do some sprouting too, but sprouts are usually grown, or at least I grow them like in a jar, and then they're covered with something dark. They grow in the dark, and then you're eating them when they're just a little bit of a size. Whereas microgreens are grown in a growing medium, which can be a couple different things. I'll mention several different ones. But you're growing them in something like you would if you were like planting seeds in a garden. So that's another difference. And the time period, like sprouts, you're harvesting within a few days, where with microgreens, you're waiting until it's got some real true leaves on it, which is what you see here. Aren't these pretty? I'm so proud of my microgreens.
Nice dark green color.
Yeah, this is because it's been getting a lot of good sunlight the last few days, and so there's a really good amount of chlorophyll in here. Now there are some different types of microgreens. I think that primarily what I am growing right now and have done mostly is ones in the brassica family, or you could say the cruciferous vegetable types. So that would be things like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, mustard greens, radish, arugulas. Those are all kind of more in the brassica family. And those are really good. I'll tell you one of the benefits of those in a moment. But that's what a lot of the microgreen seeds are. But there are other types you can do too. For example, you can do like Swiss chard or beets or spinach, legumes. So peas are one. And I have some peas growing here. I'll show you. Lentils, most of your legumes you can do. Sunflower seeds are pretty common. Like if you go to restaurants, sunflower seeds are used in a lot of health food store and specialty restaurants as garnishes. And those ones are really tasty. I haven't actually done sunflower seeds yet. That's one I want to get into, but I haven't tried that one yet. I hear they're slightly more temperamental, but I'm looking forward to trying those. And then another type of microgreen you may have heard a lot about is wheatgrass. And that one is usually juiced, but it is also a type of microgreen. So there are lots of different types of seeds out there. And I'll tell you where you can get seeds and decide which kind you want to begin with. So let's first talk about some of the benefits of eating microgreens. And I'm going to pull up here a article. That I found. This is on the website microgreeny.com. It's on the health benefits of microgreens, and this photo is just really cool because it shows you a lot of the different types of microgreens. Like you've got some of this is probably either beets or Swiss chard. These are sunflower seeds, and some of the others I don't know because a lot of them look a lot alike at this stage. But in here, it talks about some of the benefits of the microgreens. One of them is the high amount of phytochemicals. We would also call those antioxidants. And we know from the immune class that we did that antioxidants are so important for warding off so many different illnesses and diseases. So microgreens, they have found in studies to have about 40 times more phytochemicals than the full grown counterparts. And that's because you're eating the plants when they're very small, and everything, like how many cabbage plants are in this tray? Like thousands, right? You think every one of these little greens is one plant that would create one cabbage plant, but you're packing in this one tray so many different plants, and you're eating that whole cluster, let's say in a salad or a sandwich. So you're getting so much more dense nutrition. For example, the broccoli one I have over here, if you were to eat, it says in here something about, right here, the 1 ounce of a broccoli microgreens a few days after germination offers the same phytonutrients as a cup and a half of mature broccoli. So you can eat fewer microgreens, but get the same amount as if you sat down and ate a cup and a half of broccoli, which you might not be as eager to do, but eating a few microgreens would give you that much and even more. So that's another really cool benefit. Now, you have some of the other things it mentions. Carotenoids are found in the red and orange and yellow parts like carrots and peppers. These impede the growth of cancer. You have lutein and zeaxanthin are good for eye health. They're found in cilantro. So there's a lot of different antioxidants and phytochemicals you're finding in the different types of microgreens. Now, this one about cancer fighting cruciferous microgreens, I have known for a long time that cruciferous vegetables were good for cancer fighting, but I found this really cool article that was published in 2020. So this is very recent in the journal Antioxidants. And it looked at brassica microgreens, which are like your kales, your cabbage, your broccoli, all of those. And this study was looking at human colon cancer cells and linked to their phytochemical composition. So down here in the abstract, I want you to notice this part right here. It says, as a result, the antioxidant bioactive compounds present in these microgreen species reduce the proliferation of tumoral cells, showing lesser effects with broccoli microgreens in line with their lower ascorbic acid content and total antioxidant capacity. Therefore, the daily intake of microgreens within a balanced diet could be a preventive nutritional strategy to reduce the burden of chronic degenerative diseases such as colon cancer. Isn't that cool? What that's basically saying is that when you eat microgreens, the cruciferous ones, it actually is reducing the sizes of tumors and can help reduce or prevent cancer. So that's a good reason all of its own to grow microgreens. And like I said, the handout that we sent you, and if you did not get these handouts, if you got the RSVP email, all these handouts should have been attached in that email. We always include the handouts when you register and we send that out. So go back and look, and if you don't have it, let us know and we will make sure we get that to you. But this handout had a lot of nutritional facts that you'll want to print off and put in your files. So let's talk now about how to grow microgreens. So the first thing you'll want to do is to get some really good seeds. So there's a couple places where you can get seeds. I bought some of them off of Amazon. And I looked for just microgreen seeds, and I found these, this company called Rainbow Heirloom Seeds. And these are non-GMO. And this particular one is a superfood microgreen mix. So it has broccoli, purple kohlrabi, radish, collards, and turnips in it. And that particular one is this batch growing here right now. So like you see, so many of them, they all look pretty much the same. But there's different like seeds in the packet. So you get a variety of greens. And that's nice if you want like different flavors, because some of the microgreens have more of a spicy taste. Some of them are more mild, and getting a mix can kind of give you a variety. Otherwise, you could do something that's just like one particular type. Now, another great place to get seeds is True Leaf Market. True Leaf Market, and I don't know if I have their website up here. Let me just pull this up for you. Okay. So if you go to True Leaf Market, is like a place where you can buy all kinds of seeds for your gardens, but they have a lot of microgreens on here and lots of different types. So you have beets here and radishes and types of lettuces and spicy salad mix and basic salad mix and on and on and on. And they're really not that expensive either. And you're getting a lot of seeds. So that's a place where you can get them. That's where I got these peas. I've got some Russian kale. I think I got these all through Tree Leaf Market. And then another place where I've gotten some of my seeds is here at the church. We run a food co-op that comes through Country Life Natural Foods. And if you ever want to order bulk foods, health foods, you can do that through us. And so I ordered through Country Life Natural Foods, which got delivered here. They're based on the west side of Michigan. organic broccoli seeds, and it was a big bag, like a 3-pound bag. I mean, this is enough broccoli seeds to last a long time. I put it in a jar, which is why my bag is almost empty. But there's a lot of broccoli seeds in here, and that's another way. They have clover, broccoli, and I think there was a couple other options to get microgreens inexpensively. So there's lots of
What was the website you showed us?
What's that?
What's that website that you showed us? True something?
True Leaf Market.
Okay,
True
thank
Leaf
you.
Market. And Country Life Natural Foods, you can just look up countrylifefoods.com, and that's their website.
Stacy, I have a question.
Yeah.
When I grow mine, now, do they have to be refrigerated at all?
Not until you harvest them.
Okay, all right.
I don't refrigerate them until I harvest them. So let's talk about the growing medium. When I first, the first microgreens I grew in coconut coir. So coconut coir is just like a soil medium, kind of looks like this. It comes in a block. So this right here is I bought off of Amazon, and you can buy these at any hydroponic store, which there are a lot of today, growing something different than microgreens. But anyways, seed starting mix. This is our organic seed starting mix, and this is basically just coconut coir with probably some additional nutrients put in it. But this block right here would make like a whole pail full, like a ton of coconut coir. So if you wet this down, and it takes a lot of water, and it swells and swells and swells, you'll have a lot. You'll need to store it, and you'd be only using a little bit at a time, but it would last you a very long time. Okay. So that is a very easy way to do it. And that is good, especially if you're doing some of your larger seeds, because they need to be in a soil medium. I wet it down till it's moist, not soppy wet, but moist. And that's how I use it. And I'll show you that in a second. The other way to do it, and this is newer for me, is to use a grow mat. And these are called jute mats or jute pads. So let me show you a sample here. I bought these off of Amazon as well, and you could probably find these at any hydroponic store as well. It's some kind of natural fibers, and there's no soil necessary. But what you have to do is you have to soak it first. So here I have a tray, a small tray, and my pad was soaked in water this morning, and so it's wet. And then you're just sprinkling the seeds directly on this, and it grows right on the surface. You don't have to have any soil at all. So for example, here with my little cabbages, if I pull this up, you can see that grow mat right here, and these microgreens are just growing right off of this pad. Now, one of the nice things about the grow mats is that it's very clean. Like when you harvest this, you don't have to worry about cocoa coir and dirt. You just are cutting right off of here. There's no soil, so it's very clean. And I think this is the way that they really do it when they grow these more commercially for sale. But it's a little bit more expensive because you might be able to reuse some of times them. If you maybe flipped it over, you might get one more use out of it, as long as you didn't have any mold problems. But you're not going to get as much usage out of it as like you would with the cocoa coir for long term. You can also buy it in big packs like this. These are like a large tray size. The first one I show you were 10 by 10 size. These are, I think, 10 by 20 size. But you can cut these down to the size that you want, depending on the type of container that you have.
Stacy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a whole roll of it, like 100 feet worth, off of True Leaf Market. So they now, so that's like a super economical way to use the jute mats.
Yes. And like I said, the jute mats are really, really easy and very clean. So that's kind of a fun way I've just started to use. So let's talk about containers, because you can go invest in some more professional type of containers, but you can probably use pretty much anything in your house. So let me start with things that you already have, okay? So you go to a restaurant and you get a takeout. Right now, carry out is really common, and they send it home to you in something that looks like this, okay? This is just Thai food carry out, and it came with the lid, okay? Rather than throwing this away, we're gonna make this a microgreens tray. So all I did was cut the jute mat to size, soaked it, and now it's ready to seed. And I put the seeds on it, then put the lid on it to keep it nice and moist, put it somewhere warm until it sprouts. And then after a couple days, remove the lid, and then they start to grow. So that's what all these little trays were. It was just little containers that you already have. You might get, you know, something like this. This is probably had like, I think this had mushrooms in it. Something that, you know, you get these little containers from the grocery store. Here's another example. So these kind of things you can save and make these microgreen growing trays. So that is something using, and the nice thing about this size is it might fit in your windowsill and where it's going to get better sunlight. So that could be a benefit of that. But you can invest in something a little bit more fancy. So let me show you the one that is in our giveaway tonight. So it's got a little bit of dust on it. So I bought these trays through Amazon. They were from a company called, I'll have to spell it for you. It's ANPHSIN. So maybe somebody type that in the chat for me, for those who are looking. ANPHSIN. And they're 10 thickened seed starting plant growing trays. One was with drain holes. The green ones were with the drain holes, and this one was without drain holes, okay? Now, this is more of a self-watering system, which is really nice if you are busy and you want something low maintenance. Self-watering is the way to go. I had a batch of microgreens a few days ago. I skipped a morning of watering them, and my microgreens, I walked over and they were just completely like limp and dying on me because they had dried out. And the nice thing about a self-watering system is once they're planted, you only have to water maybe once every couple of days. And in some cases, depending on the way you do it, you might only have to water once a week, which means you could plant them, go on vacation, come home, and your microgreens are ready to pick, you know, which is so fuss-free, and I love that. So with a system like this, where you have a tray that has holes in it and one that doesn't, the one without the holes is your water reservoir, and the one with your holes is going inside of it. And then your mat is going on top of here, and the water is coming up from the bottom and keeping your mat moist. So you don't have to do the daily watering thing. I hope that makes sense. Now, let me show you about another way of doing this. And this was the way I first started when I did my first microgreens. And this is the way that in that little webinar class I took. So in that class, he suggested getting these, they call these growing drip trays. So you can see like down here at my garden station, let's walk the laptop over here. You see, I have my plants like started for my garden, and they're inside these drip trays so that when I water the plants, the water is just dripping into the drip tray, or I can water in the drip tray and it's then watering from below. So that's basically just what these are, drip trays. And you can get these very inexpensively anywhere they sell gardening stuff or online. So what you do is you start with something like this. This actually is a very deep reservoir compared to the one I showed you earlier. So you can put more water in here and you wouldn't only have to maybe refill this maybe once, maybe possibly twice the whole life of the microgreens. Okay. Then what you do is you get something that you can use as a shelf inside. This was just a yard sign, you know, the kind of that you see for like yard sales and that kind of thing, campaign type of sign. Cut it into a 10 by 10 size and then cut out a corner because this becomes where you put your water in. So that's sitting inside as like a little bit of a shelf. Okay, like that. So the part that is the soil is just up here on the surface, but there's all this water down underneath. Then to get the water to moisten your microgreens, you have to have a piece of polyester fabric. This was an athletic t-shirt. These are the kind of stretchy, moisture wicking type of t-shirts. This is better than using a cotton t-shirt, which would deteriorate and rot after time because it's wet. This doesn't ever do this. You can use this over and over and over again. So I just cut that, and you want it to be long enough that it's hanging on both sides of your tray so that it's hanging down in the water. And you put this down inside your thing, just like that, see? And then you're just putting on top of here your coconut core. So you just put that on here, a very thin layer. We're talking like maybe 1/4 of an inch. You don't need very much, just a little bit for the seeds to sit on. Once this tray is filled with water, and you would want to moisten your cloth here first. Then this cloth keeps wicking water from the reservoir and keeping this coconut core medium moist all the time. So your microgreens are going to be moist going forward. And you really only maybe have to fill the reservoir once, possibly, because you've got it self-watering. So this is a really nice no fuss method. And you just need a couple things to create it, but it gives you some options. So we've looked at a couple different ways that you can use different containers you might already have, or maybe invest in something to create more of a self-watering system. Any questions so far before I move into actually the growing part? Terry, yes.
Yeah, I use these, okay? I don't know if you can see them or not.
Okay.
Where you take them apart, you know, like the ones you had.
Uh-huh.
But I was just leaving them out and eating them after, while they were growing. I was just eating them as is.
You can. Oh, because you're just doing more like a sprouting. They weren't actually growing in a medium, or was it just growing straight on the plastic?
They were going straight on these. They were going good, like yours. They look like yours.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Like the one behind you. But I didn't know that I had to do all that. I was just picking them as I go.
No, you're doing this. You're doing fine. That's the same idea. It's just a different. It's a different container.
I didn't know they had to be refrigerated either until I read that. I thought, oh shoot, I didn't know how long I should leave them out and let them grow or what.
Only once you harvest them. Only once you cut them. While they're like this, they're just happy as can be.
Okay.
Leave them out. Just make sure they're getting sunshine.
Okay.
Okay, so when it comes to actually planting your seeds, let's say we're going to do the jute method, the jute pad method. You're sprinkling your seeds on here, and you're going to be fairly liberal. So let me just take these broccoli seeds here, for example, and let me turn this down so you can kind of see here. So, you know, in the garden, you're like, they say you have to have this much spacing and all of this. But when it comes to microgreens, you're sowing them pretty thickly. There's very little spacing between them. I think that's probably pretty good. Maybe a couple more. Okay. Okay, so do you see like how many I have in there? There's quite a bit in there. Then what you want to do is get your spray bottle and just moisten them. The pad is wet, like I said, but we're just going to moisten the seeds. Because the two things they really need to germinate is humidity and warmth. And then you want to cover it. So wherever my lid went. Well, we'll just use this lid for now, although I don't think it's the right one for this container. But just for purposes, we're going to use this one. So then once it's covered, you would want to put this somewhere where it's going to be warm. And that might be a windowsill or somewhere near maybe a heat register, some warm place. And you don't really need sunlight. In fact, seeds actually do better if they are dark. So you might even consider like putting something over it that's dark, like another black lid, or in the case of these, you might put another black one on top, so that you're keeping it dark until they germinate. And that might only take a day or two, depending on how warm it is. They could sprout pretty fast. I had a batch. I started these, I think it was on Monday. So these are only like 3 days old. And when they first are beginning, this is actually in a coconut coir base. And this is with a method with a fabric. So you notice how they look a little bit, you see these white fuzzies? I don't know if, can you see that all right?
Mhm.
So these white fuzzies is actually the roots. And don't be alarmed by that. Some people see that and they're like, oh, I've got a mold problem. This is not mold. This is just your roots creating this white fuzz. Mold is very different. And I had a batch that molded. And I had never had that happen before. And now I know what it looks like. With the mold, it becomes way more kind of slimy and stinks. And everything started to kind of like die around it, you know, like the middle of my microgreen tray just like collapsed and everything got wet and like gummy and icky. And it's because I had watered from above, and that's really not good. I learned the hard way because I had always done the self-watering method, and so I never had watered them. But once I started with the jute mat, I was watering it from above, and that's when I got that mold problem. So the way to prevent that is to water from below. So in the case like with this and with the jute mat, just lift up your jute mat and pour in a little bit of water here on the base, just enough that it gets the pad wet again. But you don't want this part getting wet, because if this gets wet, then you could get mold problems, especially if it's very thickly planted like this one is, and there's not a ton of airflow in there, you will get mold. So that is what I did, and it helped to prevent the mold. So water from below, whether you're doing the self-watering method with the holes in the drip tray, or you're doing the fabric, or you're pouring a little water in the bottom, water from beneath.
I had a batch that got a little moldy, and that was on the core, or on the jute mat.
Yeah.
Seeds were too thick. Like
Okay.
it was too much trying to come through, too much trying to grow. So keep the seeds somewhat thin.
Yeah. So and it's hard to kind of find that balance, but I think you'll figure it kind of more as
I
you
just
go.
want, can I say something here?
Yeah.
Mine, you know, on mine, I have to put the seeds, you know, I'll go on here and then they grow through here. If I were to, there's no way I can do from below. My
Yeah.
directions don't tell me that.
Yours seems more like a sprouting tray.
Yeah, okay.
I have here a sprouting tray I bought, and these are pea shoots growing in it. And let me turn this down so you can kind of see. So it's got like a reservoir down here that has water in it. And then this has just holes that the roots are growing down through.
Yes.
There's actually no soil medium at all. So this is more of like a sprouting tray thing, but you can use these for microgreens or wheatgrass too.
Well, how are you watering yours though? See, I was just watering right on top of them. I was.
Okay. Well, as long as you're not having any issues with mold problems, you're probably fine. Now, these pea shoots got to be harvested. I've been keeping them because I wanted to show them to you all, but these are definitely ready to get cut. And you just use scissors just to snip them off. And you want to snip the very bottom part might be a little bit tough. So probably about a third of the way up is where you would do them. And if you like the taste of like fresh garden peas, oh, that's what these taste like. They're really good.
You just on the bottom, do you water so that the water touches them?
Well, the roots on those are down pretty deep right now, so they're kind of in the water. But yeah, I made sure the water was enough so that the roots could touch it so they wouldn't dry out.
Okay, all right.
Yep. I read somewhere that the pH of the water is best if it's about 6. I've never tested the pH of my water, so but I guess that's the optimum pH for growing microgreens. Now, let's just talk for a moment about just the lighting. Like I said, there's a blackout period when you're first growing them or germinating them, that they don't need any light. But once they are starting to sprout and some little leaves are forming and they're going to look very yellowish because they don't have any sunlight, that's when you definitely want to get them into the sunlight. So putting them next to a very sunny window, or you can do lights. So you can see with my setup down here, I actually have some little LED lights over them. That's actually for the plants going in the garden, but you could do the same setup, or you could use, let's say, a desk lamp and put that over it. Or if you've got over the counter lighting, you could put it underneath that, somewhere where they're getting some extra light. And this might be especially important in the winter time when there may be a lot of cloudy days and you're not going to get as much sunlight coming in the window, because you want them to get nice and green. And that's when you know the chlorophyll is really good. And they will try to grow toward the light. So you might have to flip the tray around a few times because of that phototropism thing going on as they're reaching for the light.
Doesn't it need to be like a grow light type or natural light?
I think that is best.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's best. But if you didn't have something like that, you could try using another type of light at first just to see, or if you're just trying to supplement the light, like maybe they're not getting quite as much light coming in through the window. But you can definitely invest in those things if you want to get more into it.
Stacy, I'm so sorry. How long do you usually let yours grow? When do you know when to harvest them?
Yes. So when they're about 2 to 3 inches tall. So these ones right here are about 2 inches right now. And when they have a nice set of full leaves, you can harvest them. I'll show you one that's a little bit farther behind, and that's this batch right here. You can see these ones are a lot shorter. So they're only maybe an inch high. I'm gonna let these go another 4 or 5 days, and then they'll be ready. So you kind of can pick them when you want. And if you can't get around to them right away, just let them keep growing, you know?
When they have good foliage and when they're about 2 inches in.
2 to 3 inches, yeah.
And
the peas, of course, are gonna be taller, and the sunflowers will definitely be taller too.
And then you cut them with scissors, just the top.
With scissors, yep. And then you can make sure they're dry before you put them in the fridge, because you don't want to have any mold issues there. So make sure they're dried off before you put them away, and then you can eat them. You know, they're going to stay good for at least 10 days in the fridge. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention real quick regarding seeds. If you're doing a larger seed, such as a pea or a sunflower or a lentil or something like that, it's good to soak them ahead of time for several hours, they'll help them germinate better. And they also need a little bit of soil put over them. Now, of course, with the sprouting tray, I didn't do that for those. But when I did peas in the coco coir, I put just a little bit of soil on the top. You don't have to do that if they're smaller seeds. They can just be sprinkled right on the surface. But if it's a larger seed, it's better if they have a little bit of soil on top of them.
What do you store? What do you store your microgreens in the fridge? What do you store them in? Anything to be fine or what?
Yeah, I glass or whatever kind of container you want. Okay, the last thing I'll mention is recycling. Everything, the jute mats, the what's left of the roots and everything can go in your compost bin. So it's all compostable. So recycle everything. If your mat or something had mold on it, or your container, you had a mold problem, I would disinfect it before using it again, so you don't spread anything to a new batch, because that would be really sad. And then the last thing I will show you related to the microgreens is just a couple ideas of things that you could do to eat them. So if you just do a little Google search for microgreens recipes, you can see people put them on avocado toast or in salads. They use them in garnishes on other types. Here's a roasted acorn squash they have it on. You can do in sandwiches or wraps. One of my fun ones is to put them on a pizza after it comes out of the oven, just putting something fresh on it. So there's so many different things. You can put them in your pita pockets or in your tacos, or on a soup, or you can put them inside of something you cook. There's so many different ways that you can use them, and you're just getting so much nutrition through them. So maybe just Google a couple of pictures and give yourself some ideas of things that you can do with your microgreens.
Another question here. How far down do you cut them?
I cut them just above the surface. If I'm using the jute mat, you can cut them down quite low. If you're using the coco coir, you can't cut them quite down as far, or you get too much soil on them, and then you have to clean them a lot. So that depends on the medium you're using.
So you're going just above the thing and cutting them.
Yes. Yes. Well, I hope that was helpful for everyone. And if you have any other questions about that, feel free to let us know, text us or email us. If you're having any difficulty with it, we can kind of walk you through that. But I think it's a fun way to use them. And of course, we have this one recipe we gave you, the salad. And this is an awesome recipe. I've made this a couple times now. I really like that it has the blanched asparagus and garden peas in it that are not cooked. They're just frozen and thawed. And then you have your microgreens and spinach, a lot of fresh spring veggies with a very light dressing on it. So it's a great way to eat those microgreens and eat some kind of a fresh spring salad. So at this time, I'm going to invite our guest presenter, Anna, to share with us.
Do you want to do the drawing first?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I totally did not want to forget that. That's why I have you guys here helping me. So the drawing is going to be 2 trays. So I'm giving you two whole kit sets. And I'm giving you half a pack, because we use some of them, but 5 jute pads. And then the sprouting microgreen seed variety pack. So there's like 3 different packs of seeds in here. So this is the drawing. All right. So Sue, tell us the winner.
So that's a really nice present or prize. I've got everyone's name in here, even if you have a guest in your home. I've got either it says guest, or if I know your name, I put the name in. So here we go. We have a name here. And it's Lana. Lana.
Oh, Lana.
Yeah.
Lana, you still on here?
Is she still on here?
Here she is. She's
Yes.
waiting in the back. All right, Lana, this is going to you. We'll make sure you get that. and we know how to reach you, so we'll deliver it to you. Wonderful. Okay, so at this time, we're going to switch to our presentation about fitness. And I have on here Anna Brewer. And Anna, are you able to share your screen with us? There she is. She's coming on.
Hi.
So Anna is a fitness instructor. She's got her own business called Barefoot Health and Fitness. She's lives in Fenton, and she's also a massage therapist. And she's going to be sharing with us some tips to help us to just like get moving and kind of get active again, maybe after we've sat too much all winter. So Anna, share with us some things that we can do.
Okay. Yeah. So, like she said, my name's Anna, and I definitely have a passion for, especially like fitness and health, but the people that I have a passion for the most are women. And I've been recently just like really trying to expand that. And so I know this spring I've actually been talking to a lot of people who are pretty much like sick and tired of being sick and tired is the phrase that they use. And I think a lot of them are just really looking for, yeah, just like some creativity, some inspiration, some ideas. And so if you're one of those people, great. And if you're not, then hopefully something I share will inspire you. But yeah, so I know the theme of this webinar that you guys are doing right now is spring detox. And it's true, you know, like the more that we sit and are sedentary, or we just kind of go through winter in the day-to-day life, like it's easy for things to kind of build up. A lot of people kind of fall off the wagon with their diet. You know, maybe they just don't get enough exercise or movement, you know, and not many people really want to like bundle up and go outside in the cold. But I know for myself, like in the winter, I still, you know, I'll just put a hat on and some gloves and put my winter coat on, maybe like a couple pairs of thermal underwear on underneath my clothes, and I'll still get out and go for a walk and get the fresh air, just because I know that I feel better when I get the exercise, and especially the fresh air too. So now that we're heading into that spring and the summer season, and it's getting warmer and we're feeling a little more antsy and active, yeah, Stacy asked me if I could come up with a couple ideas of ways to inspire you guys to kind of get moving, and not just give you some ideas of how to do that, but maybe like a reason why, because I think sometimes we need that reason why to give us some inspiration to do it. So exercising, I think a lot of people, when they think of the term exercise, they think like having to basically torture yourself in a gym or with a workout routine. And honestly, like exercise is just another way of saying movement. And our bodies were created to move. I mean, if you think about the way that our body's created with our joints, like our shoulders, we have joints in our shoulders, in our hips, in our neck, in our jaw, our feet, ankle, wrists, elbows, for movement. So the more that we move, the healthier we're going to be, because that's just how we're created. And so I don't want you guys to think so much like exercise as a form of like something that you need to do, but think of just like movement. I need to move. There's life in movement. I mean, if you look at the water, the more that it moves, the healthier and cleaner that it is. But if you look at a pond that's stagnant, eventually toxins start to overgrow, and you get like algae and like weird buildup and stuff like that. So our bodies are the same way. Our body is created with muscles, joints, tissues, our organs, you know, and the more that things flow and move, the healthier we are. So our bloodstream, for example, when there's movement in our blood, that's the body's way of not just delivering nutrients in the cell through your blood to your muscles and to your organs, to your tissues for health and regeneration. Our blood is also a mechanism of our body to detox. And so our blood actually collects toxins that are within the body. And as a little transport, our blood cells move it to our organs to eliminate. So that's like your liver, your kidneys, your lungs are a huge part of that too. And so the more that you stimulate that blood flow through movement, whether it's just going for a walk or going on a bike ride or going swimming or whatever your method of movement is, the more you're going to stimulate that flow of nutrients to your body and also toxins out. Your body also has something called the lymph system, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with your lymph system, but your lymph system doesn't have a pump to it like your heart and your blood. So your lymph system, the only way you can stimulate that is by moving your body, specifically the contraction of your muscles to pinch on that lymph stream to push it through the body. The major lymph node grouping in your body is in your joints, like your shoulders, your hips, and your jaw. So the more that you move, like even just walking, you're stimulating all of that lymph system. And your lymph system is where your body is able to, again, detox. So I don't know if you're getting the idea, but movement is helping with detox. And another way is also like with your lungs. Like the more that you breathe and you challenge your cardiovascular system and challenge the ability to just expel, your lungs actually are one of the major detox pathways. So breathing freely, breathing open and getting lots of fresh air, challenging your lungs is a way to expel toxins from your body. So something I wanted to kind of have you guys think about when it comes to movement and getting out is just kind of evaluating your life and your priorities and realizing like our life needs to have a balance in it. So if you don't find that you have the time to get out and get movement, then you have, you should kind of reevaluate maybe your priorities and see, okay, where can I find the time? So if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a plan, you're not going to make a change and you're not going to actually see a difference because you don't have a goal or a plan. So my first challenge would be to you is to think, okay, when can I get movement into my life? Would it be first thing in the morning? Or is it after work? Is it on my lunch break? Is it maybe mid-morning when I have a few minutes to maybe meet with a neighbor and go for a walk? Or maybe you enjoy going to the gym and getting exercise that way. Think, okay, how many times a week do I want to try to get this movement in? And look at your calendar, look at your week and say, okay, I've got Mondays and Wednesdays in the evening after work. I'm going to commit to getting some exercise, and jot it down in your calendar and make it something to look forward to. So once you find like a time of day or a couple of days that you can make it happen, maybe after that, figure out, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to go for a walk? Am I going to go for a bike ride? Am I going to go hiking? Am I going to maybe go rollerblading if you like that? Or go to the gym, just something you can think of. Some other ideas I was thinking of, maybe there's a fitness class that you want to join or that a friend is part of, and maybe you could grab a friend and have an accountability partner. Or maybe you do need to hire a personal trainer. Like I know some people that have had to do that, and that's helping them stay accountable. Going kayaking, like there's so many ways to just get out and move. So think of something you're going to enjoy and then make it a priority in your life and say, I'm doing this for myself, I'm doing this for my health. And I can't say that I've ever heard someone tell me that they regretted getting exercise. So if you are thinking, okay, I don't know if I really want to do this, you won't regret it if you do it. So just make the time and do it. I would also help you motivate yourself. Think of like all the positives that you're going to gain from it. You're going to detox. Exercise increases your mood. It lowers your body fat percentage. A lot of people end up losing a little bit of weight. It tones your muscle density and keeps it healthy and strong. It increases your energy. It also it decreases your stress. It decreases pain and pain receptor activation. It increases your quality of sleep. As far as the pain thing goes, like a lot of people that have aches and pains, they actually see that a lot of those start decreasing the more that they start moving. Your body has a way of releasing endorphins, or like that happy chemical, the more you move and the more you get exercise. There was actually a study that was done that found that those people who exercise more, it actually causes a deactivation of different hormones in your body that cause depression, anxiety, and stress. So the more that you exercise and especially challenge your muscles, the more your body's able to handle those other hormones and actually boost your mood. Actually, just a few minutes ago, one of my personal training clients texted me and she's like, I was just randomly brushing my teeth and I looked at myself in the mirror and I just had this random thought, like, I am happy. And she's like, that is like the first time I felt that way in months. And it made me like just want to cry. But it's just the movement and the exercise and making it a priority in your life is so important, and it will have such a positive benefit to you. So something else that I want to kind of get you to think about too is like accountability. Thinking about your body and like detoxing. A lot of times it's not even just a physical detox. Sometimes it's an emotional detox, or a spiritual detox even. Like sometimes we can have that negative mindset or that depression or the anxiety and the stress that's just built up in our body. But if we can get out and actually get some exercise and just the fresh air, and especially being outside and being able to just take a walk, like that's one of my ways to even just detox mentally and just pray and just unload that anxiety and that stress. And I notice that my head will be a lot clearer. I feel a lot better. And sometimes if I'm in a stressful situation or if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll just go out and get a walk for 10 or 15 minutes. And by the time I get home, I feel like I'm actually able to slow my brain down. I feel less stressed. I feel less overloaded, and I can handle whatever I have that I'm kind of dealing with, that I'm, trying to tackle. So, but yeah, I was going to say accountability too. Sometimes having a friend to do it with is great. I know I have a lot of different girlfriends that it's a great way for us to catch up and stay connected. So we'll meet up and go for a walk, and we'll find a meeting point, whether it's a subdivision or a hiking trail in the area or a state park or something. And we'll just go for a good 45-minute or an hour walk, and we'll go at whatever pace we want. And it's just a great way to get that exercise, and also have someone that's going to hold you accountable too. So really surround yourself with people that are of the same mindset of movement and health and exercise, because you become like the company that you keep. So if you're keeping within a circle or company of people that are active and that have that mindset, then you naturally are just going to be more active and have that mindset. Mm-hmm. So I think, having people around you to help you with that is great. So a couple things that you can add to your exercise routine, if you want. A lot of people like to challenge their muscles too, and actually like full body strengthening. So if you're outside and you're on a walk or you're on a hike or you're on a jog and you want to add a few extra things to that, there's a couple of different exercises you can do just right in the park. So all you really need is like a bench or a stool or even like a log. I don't really care, but just something to use. And you can challenge different parts of your body as well, and strengthen those muscles, because like I said, your lymph system and your bloodstream detoxes by challenging your muscles. So a good way to challenge your muscles is through strength training, which you can use dumbbells or free weights or something like that. You can go online and look stuff up on YouTube, or maybe Google like a workout routine or something. And there's a lot of resources out there. But if you're looking for something that's cheap and inexpensive just while you're walking in a park, I figured I could tell you a couple of things that you can do there. So one exercise you can do to help, like say with like the backs of your arms. I know as we get older, especially as women, but even men too, like sometimes you might get a little like flab down here. But even just like strengthening back here, a good way to do that is just finding like a bench or something. I'll use the couch here. You can even do this in the living room. But if you just find a couch or a bench or something and just put like your hands up on it here, and you can kind of suspend yourself here and just doing like some chair dips or like a dip on a bench or like on a log or something. And that'll really strengthen like the backs of your arms. You could do something like a bench push-up, you know, where you can just like suspend yourself up on a bench and just do some like push-ups this way and really challenge like your posture and your chest and your the backs of your arms, again, your shoulders. You could just do like body weight squats. So if you're in the if you've been walking, or if you're a jogger or a runner or something like that, you could stop and just do like some body weight squats and just like stand up and down and just really challenge you know, some different hip musculature, your legs, the backs of your legs, your butt, your calves. Another thing you could do is even just like if you're a guy and you know, you want to challenge your upper body even more, like just find something to hang from and do like some pull-ups if you want, or like jump up and do a pull-up. You could also do you know, just like standing up to challenge your core. You could even just do something like a simple crunch this way. You bring your knee to your elbow, back and forth, thinking of like engaging your core here. You know, because your core is another great a great part of your body that is really important for pretty much the health overall. You know, so there's a lot of different things that you can do to just like be creative and challenge your entire body with really, you don't really need much. Just get outside and exercise and move. So yeah, I guess I would say like I would challenge you, just find some time, find a priority, make it something that you enjoy, and find accountability with that. You know, tell a friend, hey, this is what I want to do. It's the weather's getting nicer. And the more you talk about it, the more you're going to just end up doing it naturally, because it's going to become a part of your life as you talk about it. So talk about it with other people, encourage them to do it too with you. You know, and then, you know, sometimes even just getting on Google and like just searching, how is exercise beneficial for me, you know, and even just encouraging yourself in that. And just reminding yourself of why you're getting out, why you're moving, why you're exercising. You know, just to like Stacy's been talking about, just detoxing, you know, just getting rid of the buildup of the toxins that have been in our body all winter. Not just physically on a cellular level, but even just you know, detoxing from, you know, if you had some depression or anxiety or stress or something like that, just learning how to let that go too, and just get out and move. And you know, connect with the people that you love in the process. So
Awesome. Thanks so much, Anna. Those were some really practical things. And I loved how she connected it, not just with our physical movement and stuff, but also mentally and emotionally and relationally. Like there's so many different benefits that can come by getting out there and starting to move. So
oh yeah,
thank
like
you
I said, I've never heard anyone say they ever regretted getting some exercise ever.
Yeah.
So if you come across someone that's ever regretted it, let me know, because I've never heard that before. So.
And the way you describe it is like not like, oh, I got to go to the gym and work out for half an hour. Like this is can be something just fun that you can just do to connect with someone and get some fresh air and go see some flowers that are blooming or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I know sometimes for me, like a one way to motivate myself too when it comes to just getting outside is finding something cool to see. So like finding a new hiking trail, or finding a new place to walk, or maybe like, I don't know, finding a new site to see, you know, just to get yourself out. But anything to get yourself to move.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Anna. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So we're going to transition the last few minutes that we have here with picking up on something that Anna was describing there, and that is just kind of changing your mindset and how that can really make all the difference. So we're going to play for you a short little video here, and then when we come back, we're going to just discuss it for a minute.
Change your mindset and change your life. What is mindset anyway? Your mindset is your basic outlook in life. A person's mindset influences his or her thoughts, words, actions, and health, both physical and mental. If you suspect that your attitude needs adjusting, the good news is your brain constantly reshapes itself according to what it learns, thinks, feels, and expects. According to author and psychiatrist John Ratey, experiences, thoughts, actions, and emotions actually change the structure of our brains. Good news! Habits of thinking are changeable, tunable, and improvable. One necessary precursor to change, though, is often a change of attitude. Our basic attitude affects how we think, feel, and act, in spite of circumstances or regardless of circumstances. It's a mindset. Social scientist Carol Dweck is the author of the book Mindset. She asks an essential question: do you have a fixed or growth approach to life? Fixed mindsets believe that ability and personality are basically inborn, unchangeable, and set in stone. Fixed mindsets believe that if they actually have to work at improving, it means they must be lacking in basic intelligence or ability. The fixed mindset thinks, if it's meant to be, it should be easy. A fixed mindset is more focused on how will I look rather than how can I learn. They have no recipe for healing, moving forward, and solving problems. Growth mindsets believe that although people differ in basic aptitudes and temperament, everyone can change, grow, and improve. They have a passion for stretching and growing, even when they're making mistakes and facing challenges. Which mindset sounds more hopeful to you? The growth mindset person may not feel smart, but they want to get smart, and they're willing to work at it. Dr. John Ratey claims, we are not prisoners of our genes or our environment. We always have the ability to remodel our brains. God designed human beings with a marvelous capacity to learn, grow, and improve in every area of life, including our mental habits and thinking. We can all learn and grow. Here's how we begin. First, determine to identify and replace faulty internal monologues. Be aware and beware of your thoughts. We can literally think ourselves into a frenzy or into a calm. Focus on truth and solutions, not untrustworthy feelings and fear. How? Learn God's truth. Truth is found in God's Word. Spend time each day reading the Bible. Talk to God in prayer. Think and meditate on what God says. What we magnify will get bigger. We can choose to focus on the bigness of our problems or the greatness of God, the great problem solver. This is not easy, but just because it isn't easy doesn't mean you can't do it. Second, train your mouth to speak God's word instead of untrustworthy feelings. Words have power, nuclear power. Our words have a powerful effect on our thoughts, mood, emotions, and behavior. For instance, I can wake up in the morning and say, I dread this day. I can't see anything good that will come of it. That's fear and negativity speaking. Or I can say, God, thank you for this day of life. Thank you that you will give me the strength and wisdom to meet the challenges that I'm going to face today. That's truth and that's faith. Words are powerful. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat its fruit. Have you ever heard someone say, you're going to eat your words? Well, it's true, we do. What we say and how we say it affects others, but it also reacts upon ourselves. That doesn't mean we don't have problems to deal with, think about, and discuss. We need to talk about life and interact with others during good times and bad. But the way we talk about our problems can help or hurt us and others. When we understand the power of words to hurt or heal, our lives can be transformed. Third, hold yourself accountable. Monitor your thoughts and words. Sometimes we characterize our problems as personal, pervasive, and permanent. We can wear ourselves out mountain climbing over molehills, leaving us faithless, hopeless, and nerveless when we have to confront a real challenge. Time with God will help you put your problems in perspective and incline your thoughts towards hope, peace, and solutions. Remember, choosing a new way of thinking is like learning any other skill. It takes practice, it takes patience, it takes prayer, and it takes the power of God. I saw a sign on an executive's desk that said, "You're smiling because you don't understand the situation." Well, that may be true, but remember this: you can smile because God does understand the situation, and He's preparing your deliverance even when you can't see a way out. Christ will renew you and help you to grow and change. New you. Think about it. Don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you may learn by experience what God's will is. Jesus died to set you free and give you a new mindset of hope, obedience, perseverance, and victory. The power is His, the choice is yours, the time is now.
I love that little video, and it has a ton of stuff packed into it. And I've watched it multiple times. So we included for you in your handouts this month, this little one called Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life. And it goes through a lot of what was on that video. So go and read that and go over it several times. But basically, there's these two ways we can look at life. Your mindset is your outlook on life. And as you see, the one mindset is very self-defeating. It's very pessimistic. It's very negative. It pretty much prevents you from growing and from achieving anything because you're defeating yourself before you even begin. It's the mindset that says, you know, other people can do things so much better. I'm not even try because I would just fail anyways. It's a mindset that says, you know, where you feel very insecure, you know, around other people who are more gifted and talented than you are. Or when you make a mistake or you do something wrong, you're like, yeah, I just knew I didn't have it in me, you know. And that kind of a mindset is hurts us from reaching the potential that God designed for us to reach. And we don't want to have that kind of mindset. And people that are like that are the people that you don't really like being around because they're always pessimistic, they're always insecure, they're always feeling bad about things. So instead, we want to have that growth mindset that says, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to try. If I make a mistake, I'm going to grow from it, I'm going to learn from it. Challenges are not something to avoid. Challenges are something to embrace and to persevere. And because you know that every circumstance can be a learning circumstance and a growth circumstance. I heard this quote that came from a man whose name was Viktor Frankl. He was a Jewish psychiatrist who was imprisoned at Auschwitz during World War II. He lost his family, he lost his career, he lost his freedom, he lost his health. But when he was finally released, he wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." What is our attitude in any set of circumstances? We can choose that. We may not be able to choose the circumstances that our life is in, but we can choose the attitude in which we face it. And we can have that growth mindset. And that can come from God. And I love so much, you know, that quotation that we read there at the beginning, and Vicki quoted it there in the little video too, that we can experience that renewing of our mind. And I want to share with you one scripture that comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. And here in my Bible, it says, "If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new." Yes, that's what springtime is about. It's about old things passing away, new things beginning. We can all have a new start, a new beginning, and that beginning comes with God's help. It's hard to change our mindset on our own, but God has the ability to change our mindset and to give us a new perspective, a new outlook, and a hopeful heart. And the Bible has given us so many promises to help us to find that hope. And right there in Romans chapter 12, where it talks about being transformed by the renewing of your mind, that word transformed, the original word in the Greek that it came from is the word we get the English word metamorphosis from. It's that transformation that the butterfly goes through when it goes from a caterpillar to a butterfly. We can experience that. We might have been a caterpillar all our life, just crawling around on the ground, ugly as can be. But with the power of God, we can experience a transformation, a new being, a new creation, and something very beautiful. So give God that permission to come in and clean in your heart and your mind, clean up your outlook, clean up your body. And this spring, make some of those goals and say, it's a new beginning, a new start. I want to have some new changes in my life this year. And God will do that in your life, and it will be a very beautiful thing. And that's what we here on our health team want you to experience, which is why we've done this class tonight, so that you can find that positive outlook on life. Any comments or thoughts based on anything we've talked about tonight? Anyone wants to say? So we kind of wrap up here.
I like what you said about. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I had something I wanted to share, but I don't know how I get back on the video.
We can
see you.
Can you guys see me? Yeah. I found something at Target yesterday. It's was this magazine. It's called Forks Over Knives, and I don't know. Maybe you guys are familiar with it, but if you're not, it's a whole foods plant-based lifestyle. And I picked it up because it had this, my husband loves mac and cheese, and it had this mac and cheese 6 ways. And I saw that on there and I said, ooh, but as I was going through it, there was a little article in here, and it had this, how Forks Over Knives got its name. And it was a movie, and it said, warning, this movie couldn't save your life. And it's basically was May 6th marks the 10th anniversary of the release of this indie film that started it all in honor of this milestone. And it has a little article of the movie, but it's basically was a documentary on a simple yet revolutionary message, which was many chronic diseases can be controlled or even reversed by rejecting meat, dairy, and ultra-processed foods. So it's like, that's where it all came from. And it was these 4 guys that one was started, and it's, 10 years ago, basically started this thing on being plant-based. And it was like really
That's a great resource. And the film is excellent. You should look it up. It's an excellent documentary. They have a website also, Forks Over Knives, where they have a ton of recipes. If you're looking for some inspiration.
71 in this one thing.
Yeah, and they have the magazine, they have some books. So it's a really great resource. So thanks for sharing that with us. Angie, go ahead and we'll go to you.
I just wanted to say thanks for talking about attitudes, because with the COVID and coworkers, today's work was basically talking to every single person about their attitude. There are some very negative people out there, and then there's some positive people out there. And I think eventually they're all going to have to get to that sunshine side if they can. So it was great. It was a topic that came up today at work and kind of continued through the day. And you brought it up again tonight, which was great.
Good. You can take that home back to work and share something from this.
Yes, can't wait. It goes through.
Any other last thoughts by anyone? Well, we're so glad you are all able to join us here tonight, and we're looking forward to our next class, which is on May 13th. Yeah, and we have our guest presenter coming, Nicole Braxton from Around the World in 7 Days. So make sure you sign up for that class and attend that one. I think you'll really enjoy that. And then April 22nd, we're having our Health in the Bible class, and we're going to go more into this whole growth mindset. Because the Bible has a lot of really great principles on how we can change our mindset and have the positive things that can come from that to affect our health. So plan on joining us 2 weeks from tonight. That will be at 7:30, and it'll be here on the same Zoom login. So look forward to seeing you there. All right. Well, with that, we're going to have a closing prayer, and we'll let you all go. Dear God, I want to thank you for a wonderful evening tonight, and for each one who was able to come, and for the fun time we had learning about microgreens and movement and fitness and mindset. I guess there were 3 M's tonight, weren't there? Microgreens, movement, and mindset. Good way to remember this little spring reset class. And we ask, Lord, that we would apply these things in our lives so that we can experience the abundant life that you intended for us to have. Bless each of these friends, Lord, and watch over them this week. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.